Welcome, dear students. The topic of the current session is Other Texts of English Language. Well, the session focuses on giving you a hands-on experience of observing some sample texts that come from different socio-cultural contexts of English language. Well, my dear students, a lot of linguistic change has occurred in English language vertically, that is through the times, and I hope you are familiar with how from the Old English to the Middle Times English and then to the early modern and late modern periods have different varieties of English, and the changes have taken place. However, the change has not only taken place, vertically, it has also taken place horizontally. In terms of space, it has also taken place. To give you an idea of how at the same time, through the same times, at different places, in different geographical, cultural and social contexts, how English language varies. Just to give you a flavor of that, I'm going to share with you some examples. The first text that I'm going to share with you is a cowboy poem from Arizona region. This is the region in the USA. The poem is written in 1917, so this is a 20th century text and is written by Gardner. My dear students, on the screen you can see the initial part of the poem. This is the beginning of the poem that I have shown here on the slide. Let us read and see how interesting it is. The poem goes, "As there was a riding back to camp, a-picking a pretty good load, who should they meet but the devil himself? A-pranking down the road, says he, you ornery cowboy shanks, you'd better hunt your holes, for I've come up from hell's rim rock to gather in your souls." I would like you to notice certain features of this. I hope you would have noticed some aspects of pronunciation. Notice this use of prefixes throughout. A riding, and missing of this G. The word is riding. How it is, written and pronounced, a riding. A packing, this is packing. This is again, extra. A pranking, again, this is, how it is. Says, this is says. Says he, you ordinary. Can you guess what is this? By the way, this is ordinary. This is ordinary, and you'd better hunt your. This is your. What is this, by the way? For. I've come up from hell's rim rock to gather in your souls. Your souls. So, how much different it is. It almost seems alien to us. We who do not belong to any such society where English is used, as a first language, we already find problems with fluency and proficiency both. In that case, when we come across a dialectic variety, it really becomes difficult for us, to comprehend. The poem continues. Says Sandy Bob, old devil be damned, we boys is kinda tight. Kind of. But you ain't a-going. You are not going. You ain't a-going to gather no cowboy souls. Thought you has some kind of a fight. So Sandy Bob punched a hole in his rope, and he swung her straight and true. He lapped it on to devil's horns. And, this is and. He taken his dallies too. Well, my dear students, basically the stories of two cowboys who run into the devil on their way home back from a bar. We find it almost all intangible if we read it and try to understand it, though, there are certain words that we can relate to. But there are certain words that we do not understand. For example, the word dally. It refers to a method of winding a rope around the saddle. And I have already explained the word ordinary, that is ordinary. It is a colloquial use, informal use of ordinary, with a different pronunciation where it is contracted in the pronunciation and it is pronounced as ordinary. So there are many words that we are not very much familiar with. There are certain grammatical constructions in this example as well. For example, you ain't a-going to go. This kind of structure is not common in English language, standard English language, what I mean by that. With this, I bring you to the second text. This is a poem by Robert Allen Jamieson. Again, the poem is from the same century, that is the 20th century, written in 1958. He was born in the crofting community of Sandnes of Shetland, and the name of the poem is Wag. Can you guess what is the meaning? Work. Quickly have a look at the text. Wags detting a ill-tricket dog, by the way, this is. Unbiddable A for Ado roars. Hit wanna bid, hit never fetches. You would have noticed this is even more difficult. I find it difficult to read. So I would just stop here, would not read the rest, but to give you an idea of what it means, here is a quick translation. Work is such a mischievous dog which never does as it told, no matter how could you shout at it. This much is the translation of what I read. Here you would have noticed in this text that there are some words that are quite closer to modern British English. For example, work or work is actually work, or love is love. But still we find difficulty in reading because of the difference of spellings. However, for most of the part, the poem is very difficult and we do not find it easy to read. It also includes certain characteristics like these that are from Old English, which we do not find in modern English. So, unless you are a Scots speaker or you have some specialized assistance in reading this poem, otherwise you find it difficult to read. I hope these examples give you an idea of how horizontally through the space there are different varieties of dialects, different varieties of English language that we find across the globe.